The 2026 legislative session starts today. Leading up to today, we've been checking in with state leaders, including Governor Kevin Stitt, talking about top priorities. And joining us now, we continue that. Before the official start of the session here later at the Capitol, we are joined with Lieutenant Governor Matt Pinnell. Lieutenant Governor, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you here checking in before the official start of the session. Before we get to that, though, I do want to ask you about some breaking news that we got this morning, is that Devon and Coterra announcing a merger. So in plain terms, explain what that means for Oklahomans.
Sure. Well, I mean, this is the merger. It creates kind of the largest oil, natural gas, kind of company in the country, which is a big deal for Oklahoma. We could continue to have an amazing presence and voice when it comes to the future of the oil and gas industry in the country. The headquarters will be moving to Houston, but a significant presence of employees from Devon will continue to be here in Oklahoma City. That's great, certainly, for Oklahoma City. So where this goes, certainly we'll be having conversations. The city will be having conversations with Devon as well. Devon, again, a backbone of this community, will continue to be, and we'll continue to fight for the oil and gas industry here in the state of Oklahoma, no doubt about it.
Okay, and just real quickly on that, a lot of times when we hear things like they're moving to Houston, but significant presence, people worry. Sure. Are people going to lose their jobs? Are we adding more jobs? Do we know anything about that right now?
Right now we don't. Again, that's an ongoing conversation with Devon. Devon certainly will be putting out more of those details into the future. We're going to do everything that we possibly can do at 23rd and Lincoln to make sure that significant presence is significant, and that stays right here in Oklahoma City and continues to be the economic engine really that it is for our city.
Okay, and that's something we will continue following throughout the day. Let's transition back now to the start of the legislative session. This is also your last one as Lieutenant Governor. So as we kick things off here, tell us about your priorities.
Yeah, I mean, my priorities are going to be the priorities of the governor, our state legislature as well, and that's the good thing. Republicans, Democrats, and independents alike are really rallying around education and making sure that we move off the bottom of lists and get on good lists when it comes to education. And I really like what we're really focused on this session when it comes to tutoring, making sure that we get into kindergarten, first grade. We help kids that need it the most. That's the key. So if teachers know. Teachers, we need to go to the teachers and get recommendations from them when they know which kids need a little bit more help during the school day. So we're going to make sure that we put more money behind those efforts. Teacher pay raise is on the docket as well. And taxpayer endowment funds. It's another big issue that I wanted to mention. You're going to hear that today from the governor. The governor has done a great job with the legislature of putting money in our savings account. That's great for Oklahoma. But what we want to make sure is we use some of those dollars for some targeted investments with an endowment fund. That's going to open up opportunities for more investments into the future. We've got to do that, whether it be education, infrastructure, governor's quick action closing fund, so that we can draw more businesses to the state of Oklahoma as well. Taxpayer endowment funds, you'll hear that today from the governor.
From his State of the State address, which we will be listening into here later this afternoon. So you talked about education, always a big one. Property taxes, just taxes in general, but specifically property taxes is always one that people want to hear more about. I know the governor in the past has worked on some more tax cuts. What can we expect this session? What would you like to see?
Yeah, I mean, the governor's, with the legislature's help, has cut over $1 billion worth of taxes in these last few terms in office. So give him some credit in the legislature. Our property taxes are a whole lot better than Texas's property taxes. That's something certainly that we can continue to use against them when it comes to cranky CEOs that we want to move to the state of Oklahoma. But again, they're getting more aggressive as well. So you will see, I think, a conversation about property tax, the income tax as well. We can continue to make our income tax far more competitive against other states. You see the kind of states that are growing, Tennessees of the world, the Floridas of the world, that have very low tax bases. But we want to make sure that we're the best state for entrepreneurs, that we're scaling, we're growing businesses here in the state of Oklahoma. The governor signed an executive order just a few days ago to make it even easier for entrepreneurs to start businesses in the state of Oklahoma. That's the real stuff. That's the kind of stuff that is going to scale businesses 10 years from now, There may be a business, somebody that has an idea for a business here because of us releasing them to go create their business inside the state of Oklahoma. Those are going to be the next Devons. Those are going to be the next Amazons, and they're going to be scaling right here in the state of Oklahoma. I'm going to love to see some of those stories a decade from now.
All right, a lot happening in this session. Before we run out of time, I do want to ask you about the Centennial Route 66. You are really invested in this.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot of work pushing this celebration.
Yeah.
Talk to us about why it's so important, what it means to Oklahoma, and how people can get involved.
Sure. Well, I mean, it's the most famous road in the entire world, and we have more miles of it than any other state in the country. So that shouldn't be hard. We should be able to rally around that, right? So the greatest America road trip, truly, that you can have in Oklahoma, right here in the country, right here in Oklahoma. So the economic impact of this road, because it's the most famous road and we've got more miles of it, is really big for 40 plus towns across the state of Oklahoma. It weaves through almost the entirety of the state. And yes, this year is the 100-year birthday. National Geographic named Oklahoma's portion of Route 66 one of the top 10 places in the world to visit in 2026. So there's going to be a whole lot of sales tax being dropped inside the state of Oklahoma. We love that because sales tax really drives the state of Oklahoma. We rely upon sales tax more than most other states around the country. That's one of the big reasons that our tourism industry is so vitally important. And this year, Route 66 will be driving tourism in our state.
Oh, it's going to be a fun one. Lieutenant Governor Matt Pinnell, thank you so much for coming in,
Thank you.
updating us on the session, the Route 66 Centennial, and also this being your last session here as Lieutenant Governor. So again, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate
Thank
you
you for
being
having me.
here. Of course.